This is so lighthearted and warm. What's the worst thing that can happen? I'll get 12.5 response videos. I welcome them. Please respond if you think you're right and if you want to tussle with the muscle.
Challenge accepted.
Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, it is time for me to channel my inner Nux Taku. I will of course fail spectacularly, but as the internet has taught me, if you're gonna do something, do it cringe. Ooh buddy, time for some popcorn. Nux Taku made a video. I'm declaring war on the One Piece community about a month or so ago, and he basically begged for a response video, and over the course of a month, I thought to myself, why the hell not? It's good for views, it's a good topic. That seems like a lot of winning to me. You already know I love to preach my holier-than-thou ways. Thanks for giving me an excuse, man. Fake AniTuber squabbles are almost as good as the real thing. Do I actually disagree with Nux? Not really. Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint all y'all drama sluts out there, but I do think that there are aspects to this that he didn't talk about, or he didn't really hit the nail on the head, so to speak. I am the hammer. Overall, I think that understanding can be had around the table, including for Mr. Taku, so that we are all less shit to one another. Let's do it. Alright fam, you made a 42-minute video. Our attention span ain't that high. How are we supposed to respond to you? You wanted response videos. How are we supposed to respond to you when you make a video that takes us a month to watch? Seriously, you know, you're lucky I made a sterner stuff that I got tiger's blood running through my veins and the mentality of a champion. Even in making this video, I win. I've defied the odds. Your premise was flawed. You've lost this war from the outset, my friend. Please do not look at the duration of my videos. But I'm gonna humor you. I watched your behemoth and even clipped a few parts so that people know what you actually said. 42-minute video. You're welcome.
Please have pride of me, Sensei.
In general, I agree with you. Honestly, that's why I never felt the desire to respond. You're wrong, but you're not wrong enough to fill me with any sort of burning passion to accomplish anything. So basically, you didn't make the cut. But a month later, here I am, dry on content and bored. You got lucky. So let's start with a summary of your video in 2 sentences. You know, we could maybe title this section, Watches 42 minutes quickly becomes 15 seconds.
How about a magic trick?
Now I dislike things, and the things that I dislike are also bad. Also, the specific thing I dislike is angry people. And angry people are also toxic. And toxic people make me sad.
It's gone.
Amazing. I will upvote now. It is speaking to me deep down inside.
Anywho, power scaling is a key component to the overall One Piece community because it is one of the most discussed topics in the entirety of the One Piece world. Aside from, I guess, predictions and theories, but that's a different segment of this video.
What you don't even realize, you separated your video into 2 parts, power scaling and theories, but you are disliking the exact same thing, and you didn't even connect the dots. To be honest, the theory crafting here could have been stronger. I'm about to blow a lot of people's minds right now, so prepare yourself. Power scaling, it is a form of theory. I'll give you a moment to recover from that one. Now granted, it is definitely true that there is differing amounts of evidence that could be applied to various situations if you're intending to power scale. Same shit is also true of theories. Some things are more justified, some things are less justified. So is it a theory or is it a speculation? Who the fuck cares? Bro, you would not believe how often I get this. Oh, that's not a theory, okay? That is a prediction. Get it right. You know when people want to be talking down to the shit that you like, but they don't know how to express it, they don't know why they feel it? This is the kind of argument that they come to. Is it a review or is it a recap? Is it a let's play or is it a guide? Or is it some combination of these 2 things such that really no exact word defines what it is that you're doing? The title can only be so long. The struggle of man is very real. It's so sad. Are you really actually declaring war on the One Piece community, Mr. Taku? The painful truth is that nobody cares as long as they enjoy the video. But God forbid they dislike the video, then it becomes a game of, well, let me contrive my own reason as for why my opinion is superior to everybody else's. Let's bring them down so I can lift myself up. So let me explain to you the elitist mindset that you and many have, myself included sometimes to be honest, why it's wrong and who the real enemy is.
Using terms like, oh, he's warlord level, he's emperor level, oh, that guy admiral level. Bro, what are you talking about? That man right there, he's Yonko commander level. Now, I'm not saying that everyone that uses these terms are a dumbass. Okay, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm kidding, I would never say something like that. Are you crazy?
Since you don't seem to understand, I'll explain. Tiers are simply generalizations of strength. Just the same as generalizations in real life, in any facet, they are not always true, and that is understood. Or it should be. It's crazy, right? Dumb people are gonna come to dumb conclusions. But the tiers themselves certainly do not contribute to toxicity by themselves. They are just tools to improve communication. Say I wanted to speculate how strong I think Zoro is right now. I don't really want to argue the merits of this, but say that I have the desire. How would I do it? Well, important here is how exactly do we quantify strength? As I think you pretty aptly pointed out, it's complicated, and nothing exists straight out of One Piece for you to be able to effectively do this. As you say, using Zoro's bounty is dumb. So you want to know why the community uses tiers? Well, it is for this reason. To quantify strength in some way that could be communicated. Right, I'm not going to disagree with you. Power scaling gets very contrived very quickly because the task that they set before them is incredibly difficult. There is way too much that we do not know. Oda has not made it easy, and in your video I believe that you explained this pretty well. But then it feels like you made the jump, well it's so hard so you gotta give up. Quitter's mentality.
The guy who flexes on people on YouTube flexed on himself. Now it is too hard for him.
And me as well, not gonna lie. But like some people enjoy the challenge, man, that's what they want to do. Power scaling and discussion by itself is not a problem, and you basically said that. I think that in this part of the argument, you lost the forest for the trees, in much the same way as you're criticizing. If your intention was to blanket the whole idea, as you actually did. Warlord level is certainly the most cherry-picked thing you could have possibly chosen to express an opinion that is largely flawed. I think that you overcomplicated the conversation, to the point of partially making yourself wrong. You basically said it right here.
And because of this stupid headcanon that these terms actually exist, it gives people actual room to complain about the One Piece narrative, which is just mind-boggling.
Trimming all the fat here, what you are left with is people who use stupid reasons to complain about the story are dumb. Angry dumb people are bad. The argument starts and ends here. My video is going to continue on from this point, but this is my entire point, right here. This is all that really needs to be complained about. Because these various things that people enjoy that they are doing, they're not a problem. As long as they understand that Oda can do something different, and that is okay. Because complaining when you're wrong is just stupid. In much the same way that a theorist who complains when their theories aren't right are also annoying. It's the fact that you don't understand, or you choose not to understand, what these words are communicating. You aren't fluent, and many aren't, because they aren't a part of these communities which obsess over this thing. Just the same as many don't know what the hell 189 dumb high IQ is, but those in your community understand, and the joke is effectively communicated. Like One Piece creators using tiers colloquially. You use this joke like you assume we know what the hell you're talking about and what this thing means. You are no different from people using these tiers in your own way. Are tiers contrived? Absolutely they are. And that is the case out of necessity. Because this is really the best that One Piece gives you in order to power scale. And some people just simply desire to do this thing. There is nothing inherently wrong with it by itself, as long as you understand its place. I find that a lot of times we do not have great control over what inspires our imagination. So all we can really do is take out the arrogance. I definitely agree that power scalers tend to be the most toxic in the entire One Piece fandom. They are quickest to criticize Oda for stupid reasons. But let's just absolutely clarify that 1, it is not a problem to power scale. There is nothing wrong with it in and of itself. And 2, the use of tiers is not a problem. And even though you cherry-picked Warlord level as an example, that's probably controversial within these communities as well. You see, Nux, you're starting with the wrong premise. You make the assumption, right, that something can be smart when it is factual and relevant to the story, and you yourself like it and enjoy it and understand it. But not everyone thinks the same way that you do. Anybody who actually watches my channel knows that I am not a big power scaler. I avoid that. I touch upon it from time to time when it interests me. It mostly does not. But I can still respect the art of power scaling. The immutable truth here is that some people like things that you may not like. You will never change that, and to assume that it is bad, you must assume that all discussion is garbage. I will explain this in a moment. Let's start with this example. As you delve into the dark recesses of the internet fandom, including One Piece, eventually you will find
Shippers.
writing lemons and romance fan fiction between some of your favorite characters without regard whatsoever to the narrative. I mean, if you really want to, the art is pretty easy to find. Sasuke and Naruto. It's been shipped, believe it. Zoro and Sanji. Absolutely, yep. Luffy and Ace, Nami and Sanji, it's all there. But so here's the thing, these people do not generally believe that these romances will ever happen. They love immersing themselves in the world and creating fan fiction. They get off to it, you feel? This is kind of an extreme example, right? But what this proves is that there are communities within every fandom that do not necessarily care what the story is actually suggesting. They don't care about the facts. They enjoy thinking about the possibilities. In this way, power scaling can be similar. Is Magellan ever going to fight Prime Garp? No, obviously. Will Oda ever address this? No. Does it have any relevance to the actual narrative? Hardly. But people still enjoy these discussions. You don't have to understand it. There can be people different to you, and that is okay. They are not automatically toxic for quietly existing. And they're not dumb for simply liking these things as long as they understand its place. I make theories, alright. I know firsthand many do not understand my obsession. But I also don't think that it's fair to label me toxic without listening to me. I think a lot of people just assume, right? Oh, when I get a theory wrong, then I'm outraged and I'm part of the toxicity. But do you actually watch me? Guys, I make a lot of theories. I get some right, I get a lot more wrong. And when they're wrong, I don't even get salty, man. I actually equally enjoy being right as being wrong for different reasons. And you would know that if you watched me. And you would know that about other theorists as well if you watched them. But that's the hard part that's skipped.
Because we like complaining about things that we do not understand.
The fact that is conveniently ignored by those who do not like theories is that the theory community has developed a culture which accepts being wrong. Because anybody who is deep within the community and has been around for long enough knows that the vast majority of the time, no matter how convincing it sounds, you are wrong. There exists this elitist mentality of like, oh, look at these theory nerds going at it, trying to predict everything, always being wrong, wasting their time. Foolish. But you don't throw your hat into the ring. And you also aren't motivated like we are. Take a step back and see where the lines in the sands are being drawn. It's pretty straightforward every single time. It comes down to your personal interest. Some people like to power scale, some people like to ship, some people like speculating about the future of the story, and some people like to meme. Every fan falls into some category and believes all the other categories to be a waste of time. I personally don't see a lot of value in overused copy and paste jokes. But that's just me. All that I like is good, and all that I don't like is bad. So I feel better about myself. So let's transition to theories. There are some people who make theories and place far less value on being right as you do. They love creating what I would call fan fiction. An idea sounds cool, therefore it is exciting to them, or something like that. Again, I tend to be more like you. The possibilities which interest me most are ones I feel like will happen, not what could happen. But I do enjoy a little bit of both, and I see people who enjoy something much differently from you or I. You aren't wrong for enjoying One Piece in this way, because that is totally your prerogative. But if you are an outsider who has not devoted one brain cell in the attempt to understand these things or these people, I bet it can be pretty confusing, and it's easy to go on long rants that devalue these people's interests for the purpose of stroking your own ego. Nux, you're trapped within your own headcanon of, because I think this way, other people think the same way. I make theories because I want to be right, so other people make theories because they want to be right, and that is a fallacy. If they understand from the outset that the probability of their idea being right is low, then it ain't toxic. In fact, the ones actually shitting on them are the toxic ones. You know, it's like you go to Hobby Lobby, right? And it's basket weaving days and you go inside and there's all the grandmas in there. And you go flex on them on how stupid and dumb their pastime is.
It's illogical. Your children have enough baskets already, Grandma.
Like for real, man. These idiots with their wild power scaling and theory nonsense, my tastes are far more refined than that. And even if these are made in good faith and they understand the place and likelihood for all of these things, it bleeds out into the community and becomes toxic. So it's bad, and it's sad. But so here's the thing, I've simplified your argument. These things are only toxic when people use them to fuel unjustified outrage. When their theories are wrong, they turn on Oda, and that's not good. But by themselves, they are harmless. Angry, dumb people are the problem. But if these discussions are toxic, all discussions are toxic, because no matter where you turn, you find people who are mad about something. Here's an example. Nux, you touted your theories mightily in your video, and you yourself said that you like theories that tend to be factual, and likely relevant to or actually predict the future of the story. Well, that means you enjoy theories that turn into spoilers. Not everybody feels the same way. Many people take this element of discussion and use it to be angry, to fuel toxicity. For instance, and I've even seen this, the reveal that Komurasaki was Hiyori was ruined for some people because of theories. It didn't feel surprising. Another example, Kaido as a dragon, totally predicted to the point of absurdity. I am not saying that you are one of these people, but these people exist that get outraged for the fact that people think about the story at all.
These idiots don't know that One Piece is even better when you don't think and you bury your head in the sand. I think that we should censor them. Ban all users on the forum who actually talk about the story.
Except for what I consider to be facts. But let's ignore the fact that sometimes facts can be very misleading. There was once a time when it was a fact that Sabo was dead. Whoops! This thing that you like, in certain cases, becomes toxic. As it turns out, all discussion is toxic, because in every community we have dumb, angry people. Resistance is futile. People will always find absurd reasons to be mad. I cannot tell you how many people throw shade at me for living in my own little bubble doing what I like because they don't understand it or they don't like it, for whatever reason. Either I make a theory or analysis and it is on point, right? It is right. So I spoil people and lessen their enjoyment of said thing. Or I make a theory and it's wrong, leading to unmet expectation and disappointment. It is lose-lose if you want it to be the case. Ultimately, I just do what I want to do, just the same as everybody else. With or without me, these things will happen. The irony here is that in truth, you bash the kinds of theories that may in fact cause less damage. The theories with no justification, as you would say, baseless theories, neither spoil nor create expectation. So when inevitably they fail, nobody cares because that was totally predicted from the start. It's like when you see a theory and you're like, you're stretching pretty hard there. You don't build those expectations up of like, well, this is probably the case, You brought up the theory that Shilu would steal the diamond devil fruit, but what you failed to mention was that when that idea was debunked, nobody complained about it. So the theory itself was actually not toxic, because toxicity is being defined as that by which makes one mad for dumb reasons. That's the source of what is unhealthy within the community. In this way, your argument is illogical. Things aren't toxic simply because they exist, and you disagree with them or you dislike them. That's called being an elitist. If you want to argue that I or other theorists or theory channels are responsible for their audience's reaction to their theories, that is to say that we take responsibility for the fact that our content reaches dumb people and those dumb people can take it and become toxic, then I guess that you gotta accept the toxicity that you create secondhand, unintentionally. From those who watch your videos and don't understand the nuance of wholesomeness plus toxicity and how it works for you. What I'm saying is that, Nux, do I need to flex on you so that you understand that there are dumb people who watch your channel and are influenced by it? I would hope the answer to that is no. And now you have a bit of perspective. And since you want me to talk about Zoro's future Sharingan, or his Rinnegan, I just want to clarify here, guys, I have never, not once, made a video on this subject. My taste is actually very similar, to Nux's here. But you said this.
Fam, the amount of people I see theorizing that Zoro's eye that's scarred shut is actually the Sharingan. There are so many theories that the reason why Zoro's eye is shut and he never mentioned that he actually lost it, well, you see, in fact, his eye has superpowers. So that being said, I would not be surprised at all if it's true. In fact, if I were to guess, I would think that he did not lose his eye and that he will be able to open it and his eye is gonna look like Mihawk's, you know, Hawkeye, the famous eye that he has that he can see shiz, he's a legend and all that. I do think that that's possibly one of the things he's gained from his training with Mihawk, that when he opens that eye, it'll look like Mihawk. I would never ever in a million years make a video on that because even though it's a prediction, it has zero evidence. Zero evidence.
The fallacy here is that it is impossible to justify this theory so that it is not baseless. And in a way, you are straight up saying that you should be in control of the ideas that influence the community. If I decided to make a theory on this subject, you would not even watch it because you have judged the idea from the title and thumbnail. My actual argument, whatever I say, is totally irrelevant to the conversation, when it really should not be. You are assuming that you don't need to watch it because you already know. That's arrogance and egoism that many partake in, including myself. I know this seems like a bit of an attack here. We're getting into like really juicy faux drama, but I'm very similar to you. And so because I'm similar to you, I think that it's fine if you think in this way, if this is the case. I understand, I really do. But I think that you need to at least acknowledge your own toxicity here, ranting about things you have not even bothered to listen to or understand. All it took was the one Zoro eye theory from 4 years ago, and from that point onward, you, I, and many other people have forever canceled that theory topic. I could actually make a halfway decent Zoro eye theory right now, and I've been thinking about doing it. So maybe we'll just do it right now in order to prove a point. I made a theory discussing the importance of Buddhism in One Piece and how it relates to Zoro. Honestly, feel free to use it when you eventually make your Nobody Understands Zoro video. I think that it is totally relevant in an aspect of Zoro that really not a lot of people understand. Anyway, in Buddhism, there exists the idea of the third all-seeing eye, the eye which perceives truth. Here's a fun fact. People make jokes about Zoro unlocking the Rinnegan. Rinnegan in Naruto literally translates as Samsara Eye. Samsara refers to the cycle of rebirth in Buddhism and Hinduism. The 6 paths of pain, the 6 worlds, are Samsara. Kishimoto was inspired by these religions to give pain the power of the Rinnegan, and stylistically decided to depict this by changing how his eyes look. But instead of straight up exploring this, he just gave Nagato powers. And the religious component of this is simply implied. In my theory, I argued at great length, using a lot of evidence, that Zoro travels the paths of pain. Yes, the very same paths of pain in Naruto. The theory is pretty persuasive. That's the feedback that I've gotten from it. So if you argue Buddhism is important in One Piece, specifically, that in particular it has great relevance to and shapes Zoro's character and powers, past and future, for him to unlock a version of the all-seeing third eye is very justified. Explained in this way, in this detail, it is not just intuition. But of course, you would never, under any circumstance, make a theory on this, nor watch anybody else's for that matter, because it is baseless. And many think just the same as you. I hope you understand just how hard I just dunked on you. It won't always be the case that you will select an example that I actually have a semi-decent theory for, but it does a fine job of making my point. You assume that a theory is poop because of your own bias, and many people just like you are also falsely outraged. Here's another good example where I can add some perspective. You stated the theory types that you like.
Now, when it comes to One Piece theories, there's 3 basic veins of theories that I really like. We know that Oda likes basing different characters off different figures in history. The second vein of theory is based on clues that Oda drops. And the third kind of theory I like is theory based on narrative.
Here's my theory Venn diagram. In my opinion, a good theory consists of a little bit of all of these things. Your own imagination, sources of inspiration outside of One Piece, and clues of various kinds within the manga itself. The bottom circle, foreshadowing and narrative, carries a lot more weight if your objective is to make theories that are right. That is, if you correctly identify what is intending to be foreshadowing within the story. Because not everything is foreshadowing. And that's a game unto itself. What maybe you don't know is the right circle, sources of inspiration. It's fool's gold, and I will explain why. You explained your theory about how Kaido was inspired by Napoleon. I saw some theories like this a long time ago, before we had actually met Kaido, back when all we had to go on in regards to his appearance was a really misleading silhouette that, after the fact, looks nothing like Kaido at all. People use these very same conclusions that you came to speculate that Kaido was in fact a very small man, just like Napoleon.
Kaido the manlet, if you will.
But that never happened, because Oda did not use that part of the inspiration, and not coincidentally, many others. The concept I'm demonstrating is the cherry picking that is necessary to conclude things using inspiration, because Oda does not use every element of an inspiration. Even if you conclude that something has inspired One Piece, and you can reach that semi-confidently, it is total guesswork to extrapolate the inspiration further into unknown territory. Just like my Zoro Eye theory, right? It might happen, but it may not. It is totally up to Oda's whims. Yet these theories create a very strong sense of faux confirmation. I know I use that technique. I'm gonna be honest with you, the thing that I actually like most about using sources of inspiration and characters and or actual history itself is what can be learned in the process of talking about One Piece. It's an educational experience that I value. But if you assume that these things actually justify your theory more, in more cases than not, it's a fallacy. Here's a fun fact for you. There have been more what you would call baseless theories that have been confirmed right than lore-based theories. Because what people try to do with these lore-based theories is try to reach for even more surprising conclusions. Unless something in the story actually indicates the conclusion that you were speculating, it might as well have come from your imagination. It's baseless. Or at least it's baseless to the same level. Just as something may make sense because it may be an inspiration, things may make sense intuitively just as an idea because it's cool. They are on the same level. A lot of people don't know that. The thing is that when your story actually indicates some kind of conclusion, it tends to not be very mind-blowing and people don't usually make theories on it. So then conclusions are taken from inspirations for the purpose of being surprising or novel. It's fool's gold. So what I'm telling you is that regardless of whether you are right or wrong, this kind of theory making can be considered to be dumb, if you want to look at it that way. If all you care about is being right. And I do not want to hear you say, Nux, that I don't care if a theory is right. Then why do you care so much about baseless theories?
Riddle me that one.
When we have proven that baseless theories do not lead to outrage, except in power scaling. Are we only allowed to make theories if they're right? Does all wrong theories undermine Oda's good foreshadowing? Are your dumb theories undermining Oda's good foreshadowing? Or are they adding to the experience of being a fan? Are theories bad, or are theories that you don't like bad? I guess that you are confident enough to be the judge.
And while it does have many merits that I respect it for, it has many downsides that I don't respect it for. Which is why, when you see that, I urge you to use the hashtag you've lost the war. I think it's a very nice and appropriate way to let people know that this is dumb. That's right, declaring war on morons. It's my favorite thing to do.
But let's get this back to the point, alright? And I think that you did conclude this in a roundabout way.
Having faith in Oda is this hilarious back and forth in the community as well. You got people not willing to get off his dick for anything. Everything Oda does is literal godsend stuff. And then you got other people that they praise Oda for his greatness. But all of a sudden, one chapter comes out. Something seems fishy. Community goes wild. Oda sucks. Has been. Washout. Piece of trash. This was really stupid. And then 2 chapters later, it turns out that everything was totally fine all along. And that was very much of an overreaction.
Ignoring all the things that you've determined are bad simply because you dislike them. This is the one point. This is the start and the end of the conversation. People just need to relax. A lot of people will love the series catching up, and they'll enjoy all the twists and turns and all the stories, and then they'll catch up, and then they become One Piece enemies. Because they start thinking too much about every chapter. To the point that they hold Oda to unrealistic expectations. I know I see people beating off Berserk and beating off Hunter x Hunter, but it's like, you understand that both of these authors have failed in the competition of being a mangaka, simply because they cannot meet their deadlines. Like for real, people do not appreciate what Oda is actually able to accomplish in a week. It's absurd, the man kills himself. Is One Piece perfect? No, and it never will be. But Oda definitely deserves at least a little bit of faith. The body of work speaks for itself. What we've got to do is simply instill this faith in other people who don't have it or have lost it.
This is best accomplished by making videos explaining its greatness.
Just in case you are not aware, Oda is very nearly, if not actually, the very best at his craft in the world right now. So that might be worthy of note. But yeah, it may not seem that way if you watch this video, but overall, I guess I do agree with Nux and the various opinions that he expressed. But I thought that it could use some clarification.
Maybe it needed a little bit of perspective.
But anyway guys, I kinda assumed that you watched Nux's video, but the link for his video will be in the description, and you can let us know which one you think actually won. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always guys, have a wonderful day.